Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your hosts, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything that you need to start your trading day. Good morning, folks. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick, as you can see clearly above me. On today's show, we got two guests joining us. First up at 8:15, Phil Davis will join the show from Phil's Stock World, and then at 8:35, we'll be joined by Mike Finch. He's the co-founder and COO of the company or a website called ICO Alert, basically like an ICO calendar and research database. He'll join the show again at 8:35, but between those guests, before and after, we got a lot to discuss. Tesla, I guess Elon is still the man in charge there. We're going to talk about the trading action there. We're going to talk about the action in the banks and the dogs that have been barking. If you haven't looked at a chart of Fitbit recently, check it out because it's been, if Fitbit can move up, I guess anything can move up in this market. But that's what that'll be the theme of today's show. Joel, what is happening this morning in the S&Ps?
Green on the screen by $4.75 at 27.56 and a quarter. Your pre-market high stands at 27.58. This is our highest level that we've been at since mid-March. Big resistance on the upside. You have a pair of highs at 27.67. That's another 10 points away. You have crude in the red by 25 cents. Got off the mat a little bit yesterday, but in the red today. Gold in the red by 210 at 1,300. Silver going the other way, up a nickel at 16.59. And I don't have Fitbit, or not Fitbit. I don't have Bitcoin on this screen. Bitcoin, man, this is a dead market. Up $15 at 76.40. Big resistance here in Fitbit, right at like 7,700. So that's what you need to clear to start another rally in Bitcoin. All right, Dennis, let's just get it over with here. You're going to win your triple Q bet. I don't know why I did that, but
easy lunches. Bring the lunch to daddy. Easy lunches. So QQQ, I said would make an all-time high by the end of the week. Joel said it would not. And I'm reaping the benefits here this morning. Obviously, QQQ is making new all-time highs here in the pre-market. And I said I wanted the pre-market and after-hours action. He gave it that to me, too. So Q's new highs.
Okay, so it's officially one lunch and one steak dinner. That's where we stand.
Oh, no, stop. No, what? It's 3 steak dinners, Joel. You've lost 3
I got one back.
And you know what? We were out for dinner that once, and he wouldn't even. Now he's going to end up barbecuing me 3 steaks. That's what's going to happen. He's going to invite me over for a barbecue, throw 3 steaks on the barbie, and says eat. So I did read the fine print.
It's 2, and I'll tell you why.
No. What do you mean it's 2? I'll tell you why.
Because it was 3, and we went. Remember on NVIDIA, you thought I was going to get unchanged on the day, and I gave you 3-to-1 odds.
No.
Yes.
You know,
that was for a steak dinner.
There. He didn't bet any steak
All
dinner.
right. Well,
so it's 3 steak dinners, 1 lunch. I'm hungry. I'm coming over to eat food.
Spencer, will you start a Google Doc so we can we start?
We got to start tracking these bets because Joel's going to lose track of all the bets he's lost to me. And he intentionally loses track. So you got to be careful with him, too.
All right. Tesla, 300 on the nose, up 887. Oh, boy. Buy, sell, or hold at 300, Dennis. Tesla.
I don't. It's been up over 300 a few times. It's probably a buy. Like I said, this market, I'm going to say it again. I haven't said it for a couple of weeks. All they care about is top line growth. So if you're going to bore yourself to death, if you're going to, whatever you got to do, if the top line is growing, the stock goes up. And that's all that matters. Bottom line hasn't mattered for years. It's the top line that matters. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. If you're growing sales, if you see that top line growing like crazy, market is happy, and they buy the hell out of your stock. So Tesla, I mean, he said exactly what they wanted to see here, though. He did say, he said 2 things. 1, he thinks they can hit the production numbers. 2, he says they don't need a capital raise. I don't think, that obviously it pops up when he says he doesn't need money, but we know it'll be like a month later and they'll probably need money. So the cash burn on this company is incredible. Gordon Johnson was on CNBC yesterday. We know we love Gordo. He's on CNBC just saying how much they're burning cash. I think it's like $1 billion a quarter or something, isn't it, Spencer? How much they lose last quarter? on the
Let's
bottom
see
line.
here. They lost. Let me pull up. I was reading. I had a good source here on this. They lost $780 million in Q1.
Okay, round it up. They're good at losing money.
Oh, they're real
Doesn't
good.
matter. The top line's growing. What are your thoughts here, Joel, on companies that lose money but grow the top line?
I wish I owned them, but I don't.
We just got to search, run your scanners for top line growth. It's all this market cares about, and you get rich, basically.
All right. For Tesla here, just looking at the pre-market and after-hours trading, we're moving around pretty good here. Trading into green by quite a bit by 937 at 30050. We're clearing that psychological $300 level. Basis the daily chart, though, Spencer. You can pull that up there for our listeners at home and on their iPods. Right to draw a line right across 310 there. You did sneak above it earlier in April, but earlier in May, you had that 312.99 high. But just going, I mean, that's really your major resistance there. So if you're looking for a real high target, maybe today, that 310 area looks nice and ripe, and just kind of looks like it, came off the lows, had a little pullback, formed a base at 280. It's just revving its engines again.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me too. And I wouldn't be surprised if it makes new highs as well. It's not going to go in my investment portfolio because I like companies that actually make money. But I'll tell you, a lot of people are happy they put that in there because top line continues to grow. Amazon is over 1,700 here now. Speaking of top line growth, this thing has just been in rocket ship mode. I mean, these tech stocks have just been on fire. Oh, everything. I mean, go look at Google. Did you see the Google move in the last 3 days? Just quiet. Nobody's even giving it love. It's up 100 points in 3 days. Not joking. 1066 to where did it get to yesterday? 1161. So 95-point move here in 4 trading sessions. That's incredible. On no news. It's just like we are into Google here once again, back in favor. I own Google in my investment portfolio. It's one of the ones I actually get a little bit of growth at a reasonable price. We'll call it GARP.
Did you make that up, or did
no, somebody else made that up? I stole that.
Okay. On the monthly charts, I mean, getting up towards the 1180 level, you have another $40 to go there. It looks like you have like a quad top, but when you actually look at it, you have 5 monthly highs between 1174 and 1186.89. So just target that whole 11 area if the rally continues. Just want to go back to the Tesla one more time, because you talk about other stocks that were mentioned, and the hog is not getting a boost off this. What did they say? That they're not going to be making motorcycles? I mean,
well, yeah. I was just reading into it. I don't mind the hog chart here. So, and this is just for a trade because a lot of things are just dogs have been barking here too. We even saw stocks like Fitbit. Now, hog is not a tech stock, and tech is hot. But hog has found a little bit of life the last couple of days. And interesting enough, it bottomed at 40 right on the kisser here, 40.03. That's where it got to in May multiple times. So there's a hard bottom at 40. So I like the risk return here on hog, just because the one thing that they said, Tesla said, we're never making motorcycles. And I was like, well, that's kind of good news for hog. I mean, it means they're not coming into their space. I just look at the opposite way. Imagine if they said, we are going to make a motorcycle. Hog would be down like $5 right now. So they said we're never making motorcycles. So that's kind of good news for hog. No trades. It hasn't even traded one share since that comment has been mentioned in the after hours or the pre-market. But I don't mind it here. I don't mind the risk return on hog. I think I'm looking at this one, and if I'm doing it, I would do it just for a trade. And if I'm putting it on for a trade, I would want to stop out below 40. But setting up here, the market's hot. I mean, some of the dogs are barking here. I don't mind hog down here as long as you stop up below 40.
Okay, I just in the chat real quick. Have you seen the chart of Wynn Resorts over the last couple days? And boy, yeah. And really, the only catalyst I could see was before the open on Monday, Deutsche Bank maintained its buy, but they lowered their price target to 215, and it has just been a all-out rout. I mean, there was not that bad of a rating on it. It's getting a little bounce today, coming into the 175 area. Dennis, is this beat up over the last 3 sessions a little overdone?
Well, maybe, and it has come back. Obviously, when we had the whole Steve Wynn stuff going on, we know it bottomed out at 160 and it came all the way back to make new highs. So now you're getting a second chance or lower 170s. I do believe you do find buyers down here, but it's not just a Wynn thing. Like look at MGM. MGM is breaking down here now too, and quietly here you think about how strong the market's been. MGM is sitting near its low for the year. Yeah, so you might have some issues here. Las Vegas Sands is kind of starting to break down a little bit too. Looks like it topped out over 80. So casinos look a little bit heavy. The sector doesn't look in favor, which is something against it. But I think if you get lower 170s, I think you find buyers and win. 160, there's buyers all over the place. That's still 16 points away from here, or 18 points where we're trading this morning. So I don't think you got a chance in any time soon of getting it down there. But lower 170s, I think there's buyers.
Yeah, I think it's you had the euphoria of the sports betting here.
Yes, 100%. Rob Hood just mentioned that.
Yeah, and you rallied up into it, and then now caught people sleeping here, other people buying other people's profits that were in ahead of it. So that could be the case here. If you want one that is still maybe kind of ripe here, I mean, this Las Vegas Sands is still within a couple bucks from the move. So and really up near its 2014 high. So if
Play
this
it
is
short.
I'm thinking. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I would play it short more than long. The Las Vegas Sands, 79, sure. And now this resistance up over 80. And if you look at longer term here, you had a little bit of trouble. Well, you got up to 80 on the Kisser almost back in February. So I don't know. I could get on board with that. Short on Las Vegas Sands. Although this market seems like it's hard to short anything.
Okay, we just got off course there, Spencer.
We always get off course. Bring us back on course, Spencer. Where do you want to go? We had a couple earnings stocks, and we had a couple Chinese, some of those little Chinese plays reporting earnings too. Should we go to those ones?
Yeah, you want to start? Go to YY, I guess. We'll go to YY.
Yeah, let's do it. All
right, we talked
Double
about
Y.
We talked about it yesterday on the show. So YY,
why not?
Reporting yesterday. Wait, they reported yesterday.
Oh, after
the bell, right? Okay, yeah, $1.72 versus $1.57 is the EPS, so a 15-cent beat there. Sales $518 versus $487 million, so a nice beat on the top and bottom line for Q1 and Q2 sales guidance coming in line.
Don't these companies always beat on the bottom and top line? The Chinese, some of these smaller Chinese companies. Because they don't have like the accounting principles that we have over here. So really, like, let's be honest here. If they were missing on the top, wouldn't they just fudge the numbers so they beat anyway?
What principles?
These comments and belief are held by Dennis Dick. They're not representative.
They
of
always
Zynga.
If it's this, they just make up the numbers anyway.
Anyone that's ever read.
That's according to Muddy Waters. Muddy Waters even was saying that with the BABA numbers. Saying, hey, we're always going to, I remember Muddy Waters' tweet, they were saying that. So that actually originated from Muddy Waters. But I was like, you know what? Kind of agree with that. Anyway, so they beat, but, the stock's been running. So it's coming off a little bit. It was up last night. It's leaking here this morning. So careful on some of these other Chinese plays because some of these other ones are leaking here as well. We had our HUYA that the chat obviously is all over and Spinner been on it too. That reported last night too. Let's just do that one in tandem here. Spencer, HUYA numbers because they beat as well.
HUYA Q1 EPS of a 6-cent loss. I don't have estimates for it. So a 6-cent loss, sales $134.5 million, and the Q2 year-over-year growth of 110 to 116% in sales.
Well, that sounds pretty good. So, and its stock was popping on it. Again, these things have run so far ahead of the numbers. So you're getting a victim of, the recent success. I mean, this was a $20 stock 10 trading sessions ago. Now it's a $30 stock. So it's hard to just keep tacking on more and more gains. But it was up after hours last night, Joe. We got up
quite a bit. Yeah. We got up 233.05 if you're using the whole number theory.
$33.
Yep.
So we're off ice here. I'm concerned these things could go red. I'm somewhat concerned on all these things today. They're all trading higher. IQ's trading up on this. The Billy was trading up last night. It's still trading up a little. BILI. Our Sogo is trading up a little bit too, but it's starting to leak. I think these things could actually give it all back, especially since YY is now red as well. So
okay.
Caution to the buyer up here. I'll say that.
And if you're a potential seller, in the HUYA, just be aware that your all-time high was made on Monday at 31.60, as well as its all-time closing high of 29.79. So those are your early levels. And then for YY, I noticed that it is trading below yesterday's low. It's trading at 118.81. I don't like the way this looks on the daily here, because now that you lost yesterday's low, your 2-day low was 117.65, so that's a potential support point. But look out, $5 after that is your 3-day low at 12.35. So there's a breakdown in these stocks. And then what was the other one? I can't even keep track of these symbols.
Those are the ones reported, but IQ's been moving with it. I own IQ still in my invest portfolio, but I've sold 2/3 of the position just because it went up too much too fast. I bought it at 18. We've said this already. I bought it at 18 like a month ago. Scott on the Twitter. I sold some at 25. I sold some more at 31. I mean, the thing's up 65, 70% a month. I don't. What's your saying, Joel? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth or something.
Yeah, I don't think
that's not Joel saying, but in any case.
Yeah, but that's one he uses all the time.
All right. Well,
he's the horse guy. Come on, he's the horse.
Oh,
guy. What's your favorite show, Mr. Ed?
Oh, you know what my favorite?
When you were a kid, did you just like, when you saw that Mr. Ed just running around? Hello, I'm Mr. Ed. Was that your favorite show when you were a kid?
Well, you know what my favorite episode was is when I think he was in a horse race or something, but they were going to let this one horse win because it was the horse's birthday.
Wait, Mr. Ed was in a horse race?
Or he was in a track or something.
Okay.
Mr. Ed was in a horse race? That is awesome.
I think so.
Those Raiders are geniuses.
Well, no, I just want to take a quick break and see if we can grab Phil Davis from
Phil's
World. So we'll be right back if I can grab him with Phil Davis. All right, welcome back, everyone. Pre-Market Prep, Spencer Israel, Joel Elkanah, and Dennis Dick. We're going to bring Phil on in just a second. And before we do that, Joel wanted to discuss TripAdvisor. Why?
Because D88 has been pointing out to me for at least the last week that like every morning someone comes in and just lifts the offer for like a small amount of shares. It's 50 shares traded at 58.27 today. And it's worked. I mean, this odd lot, and this thing, I didn't look at it since it was like at 51.52. And every day it just I'm short. Oh, I see the odd lot print. And then it keeps following suit. He's asking for resistance in this thing. And holy moly, I mean, you're at 58. You got to be thinking about the psychological area of 60. Looking on the dailies here, you're in a big gap area. And this gap doesn't get filled until 62.82. So that's where I see your major resistance here. Let's see if that move can continue. Okay, let's bring in Phil.
I'm trying to dial him right now. Give me 1 second. I think I dialed his number incorrectly. So give me 1 second to bring Phil on. Phil Stock World is his side. He joined the show periodically. I would say every other month.
About once a month.
About once a month. So Phil, I think he's in the middle of moving. So don't jump all over him if he.
Hi.
Hey Phil, how's it going?
How are you?
Doing well. So we caught you in the middle of moving. Where exactly are you moving to, or from?
We just picked up a place in Florida, so we're moving some stuff down there.
All right. Well, so is like your trade station, is that like the first to get packed up or the last to get packed up?
Last.
The very, very last.
I'm sorry because I thought I didn't realize because I was supposed to be I was supposed to be done today, and the guys didn't come yesterday. They came today, so they screwed me up completely.
What else? Yeah, movers can never rely on them. So, all right. So the
business we want to consolidate. I want to fix that business.
So the trade station is the last to get packed up. So it's still set up. And where are you still trading while you're moving or what?
Well, not really. No,
okay. Yeah.
A little time off. But...
Yeah. All right.
I'm not going to Florida for another. I'm not even going to go down there for another month. I'm sending stuff down there.
Okay. So what's been on your radar the past few weeks?
We've got well, right now, I mean, today I'm looking at Tesla, but I've been worried about the trade stuff. It's in fact, I'm bitching today in my morning report. I'm saying I can't believe the crap that people aren't worried about in this market. It just blows my mind.
Talk about those worries, because I'm worried about some stuff too. Are you worried about the same stuff? What are you worried about?
I don't know. Like, first of all, today I'm worried about the fact that the Social Security Agency had to dip into their trust fund.
I saw that.
And last year they did a report saying they wouldn't need to for 3 years. So these guys are off by miles as to what they need. And this thing is going to go down real hard and fast. And the next move, of course, is you're going to hear the Republicans tell you that we've got to put the Social Security money into the stock market, to make it up into a toppy market. And that's going to, they want that, of course, to push the market higher and and then let all their buddies cash out. But it's going to be crazy.
I mean, I've been worried a while, and I've been talking about it, is the European banks. And I don't know if you're watching them over there, Phil, but you got Deutsche Bank, which is basically like a 25-year low. Barclays making new lows on the move. RBS, Royal Bank of Scotland's been breaking down. ING, Banco Santander, all kinds of problems there. The European banks look like they're going into a European banking crisis here, and our banks can't get out the mat. And I think that is the major reason there for that. But stocks just keep going straight up. So,
and, well, how about 9.5% Chinese junk bond yields?
It doesn't sound great either.
Does that sound good?
So if you are
a country that's 300% of their GDP in debt, that's messed up.
I mean, there's some things to worry about here. Why does America continue to shrug off all these worries?
Because it's not here. Because it's America first. We're in a new age where people don't give a crap about anybody else, and that seems to have sort of bled into people not even thinking about anybody else. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I mean, the mindset of traders is that foreign countries don't matter. Anything that's not in America doesn't matter. And we're doing okay. We are doing probably the best in all the world right now, but it's not going to last because the rates are rising, our debts are piling up, and by the way, we're doing well because we're going $1.5 trillion into debt this year. I mean, anybody can do well when they spend what is that, 7.5% of their GDP in debt.
So you're actually saying exactly what I was just saying here a few minutes ago on the pre-market show. I was just talking about like Tesla, and all that matters is you're growing the top line. So I guess it works for, the whole country here as well. If you're growing the top line, it's okay. You're going in debt to grow the top line, it's okay, because all we care about is top line growth.
That's funny. I just ran the numbers on Tesla this morning for people in my morning report. I said, look, they're currently doing 13 billion. If you believe Musk numbers, we're projecting 13 billion in sales this year. They did 11 billion last year, but now they're making more of a cheaper car, so it doesn't actually impact sales as much as you think. They're going to lose a couple of $1 billion this year. They lost a couple of $1 billion last year. Even if they double it to 26 billion and double it again to 52 billion, they only just catch up to 1/2 of GM sales.
Wow.
That's two doubles from now. Gets into half of GM sales. Yet Tesla is worth more than GM, or not. I don't want to say worth. Tesla is priced
value that
higher than GM. I don't even want to say value. Value is not a good word to use with this.
Price.
It's insane. There's no logic to the price of this stock. It's just beyond any kind of reason.
All right, Phil, I wanted to go back to the last time you're on the show. Rob Hood, or TT Mac is mentioning, you kind of caught oil on a rollover, and you made a nice call. I don't know, that was at 68. It went down for a couple days, and then ripped again. But, I do remember you talking about getting it out. What about now? I mean, you got an interesting chart formation here. I'm not sure when the rollover is. You've come back hard off the highs in oil, 72.90, the high of the move, trying to find some support here at 64 and change. What's your take on oil? I'm not sure when the next expiration is, but give us your thoughts on oil.
Yeah, well, expiration in oil is actually, you can assume it's going to be 3 business days before the 25th. That's generally when oil expires. So you have to look at the 25th and then go back 3 business days, and then that's the day it's going to expire. So roughly, it's usually around the 20th is when the contracts roll over. Meanwhile, though, so that's when, if oil is overbought, the last week or so, the last 10 days of trading in oil has a lot of downward pressure because people got to get rid of those contracts. That's when we look to make a move. So right now, it's a little bit early in the month for us to do anything. Plus, oil's not really high in the channel. And I only like to play when I'm going to definitely win. I don't like to play when I might win. I like to play when it's like almost certain that we're going to win. We caught an incredible drop after the holiday. We were shorting oil into the holiday, and we caught a massive drop from 72 down to like 68. We didn't even think it was going to go much lower. So around 67.50, we took the money and ran. Now it's like 65. Into July 4th, it's not smart to short oil. That's the next holiday. But after July 4th, what we hope happens now, we don't like to go long on oil, but what we hope happens now is that oil goes back to 70 into July 4th, and then we can short the crap out of it for the fall. That's our plan.
All right, one more for you. Just, you're talking about the scenarios in the markets. Gold doesn't look like the place to hide, or silver. Or, what are you doing? I mean, what should conservative investors be doing in this market that seems to defy all headlines and keep going higher?
Look, conservative investments, which we basically are, we're fundamentalists. So, conservative investors should be gathering cash, should be looking at those winners that are doing so well and should be cashing them in. And I'm not saying to cash like the down and beaten up retail stocks and things like that. In fact, we're putting more money into some of these mall operators and things, because that whole story is so overblown about the retail apocalypse. Limited brands LB is like $37. It's ridiculous. Those guys have a Victoria's Secret.
Me and Joel both own that. I just bought it last week, and Joel owns it too. We're both in.
Yeah, you're probably going to sell it, Dennis.
Oh yeah, I'm a trader.
That's actually our trade of the year for 2018 is LB.
Oh, really?
All right.
So we really, we really think it's undervalued. It's good for 45, not this year, but it's good for 45 into next year, and that's how we're playing it. It's ridiculously underpriced. I mean, they earn about $4 a share for a $37 share. There's no reason to price them at this level.
You got an urge to short like any of these FANG stocks, Amazon or Apple or Google? I mean, I know you love to short.
Apple was our stock of the year 3 years in a row. So it's not, we're not shorting it. We actually are still long on Apple. We still think it's undervalued, but not terribly undervalued like it was. I think Apple's going to get rejected at $1 trillion, which is roughly 205. So right about $205, I think Apple's going to get rejected just based on the fact that people are going to be like $1 trillion. That's ridiculous. It's not. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to get rejected there. So I'd look for a pullback from there back to a little bit lower than we are now. But even then, it's still a buy.
All right, Phil,
Amazon, insane, the valuation. But you can't short it. That's like a suicide mission.
All right, one more, Phil. I mean, you usually give us like a good option trade that you're working on. I remember you telling us to like sell Macy puts when it was like at 18 or something like that. And I know you're moving. I know you're, they're putting your trade station on the truck right now. But what are you cooking up? Are you cooking up any long-term option trades here? something maybe beat up, sell some puts, turn around money, buy the calls. Looking at anything like that?
Well, let's talk about LB, because it's about to get away from people. Limited Brands is incredible. And if you look down at the put side, you can sell, and this is insane, you can sell the 2020 $35 puts for $6.30. And that's going to net you into that stock for $28.70. So $28.70 is what? Is $9? It's like 25% off the current price. That's your worst case scenario. And you could just sell those puts and be a happy little camper. So in other words, if you sell those puts for $6.30, you get $6.30 handed to you right now.
Yep.
Your net risk, your total risk on that is $28.70. So you're collecting 6 on 28 is what, like about 25% of that.
Yep.
So you're collecting 25% for 2 years just for promising to buy this stock. You're laying out nothing, just a little bit of margin. It's an incredible way to play. I mean, if you want, I just cannot recommend that enough. That's just one of my favorite things in the market right now, because they've been very volatile. So people think it's extremely risky. I don't think that's risky at all. I think it's a ridiculously overpriced put. Now, if you want to get aggressive with it, you can then pair that by buying like the $35 calls, which is $7. And you could sell the $45 calls, which are like $3.40. So that's about $3.60 for the spread. So let's see, what we say, 35 and 45, right? So it's a $10 spread for $3.60. You sold $6.30 worth of puts, so you still have a $3 credit or $2.70 credit on the puts, which still puts you in at $32, $32.50. So your worst case then is owning it for $32.50, which is 20% off the current price, or 15% off the current price, or you're gonna make $10. I'm sorry, you're gonna make $13, which is 33% of the stock's current price. So you're laying out no money. You're getting a $3 credit. You got a little bit of margin on the put side, and your upside is $13 on a trade where you get a $3.30 credit to start.
All right.
I freaking love that trade. I think that's, I mean, why would you not, look, I encourage people to go to Victoria's Secret, see if people are actually buying stuff, talk to kids, talk to their wives, see if it's still a thing. But I think it's ridiculously oversold. It just makes no sense that they're trading like they're practically going to go bankrupt, which is ridiculous.
Phil Davis making a call on L Brand. He joins us every month or so. Phil, Stock World. Phil, good luck with the move, and
all right, thanks,
have a good one.
All right, good talking to you. Take care.
All right.
All right, 833 S&P just hanging up near the highs of the session, 27.58. That marks your pre-market high. I got a March high, I believe March 14th high at 27.56.50. So a little resistance going into the open. Very important to take out that 27.58. We got a minute and a half here. You want to cover one more earnings report before
Let's just look at imbalances. We only got a minute here. There's some interesting ones. The banks are stronger here today. Two things that are weighing on the banks: Deutsche Bank and interest rates. While both are working in their favor today, because Deutsche Bank is trading higher here this morning by 2%, and TLT is getting smacked. So that's going to be good for the banks. Banks are going to show a little bit of life this morning. Bank of America 112,000 shares to buy. JP Morgan 20,000 to buy, Citigroup 20,000 to buy, Wells Fargo 20,000 to buy. So showing some life there in the bank stocks this morning. You want to go to those earnings stocks there. HUYA 65,000 to buy. Again, slightly concerned. I am short a little bit of it. It's leaking here this morning. Over to the other one, which reported here was YY. Oh, that doesn't have an imbalance. It's NASDAQ. Fools me sometimes with the two ticker symbols or with the two letters in the ticker symbol. Southern SO 27,000 to sell. Again, TLT is down, so utility stocks are going to be weak. That one was standing out. GE, which showed a little bit of life yesterday, but you know what? I sold into that life. I sold it. Yeah, I'm all out. I looked at it. It was like 0.04%, or like literally like a quarter of 1% of my portfolio. I got sick of looking at it, and I still think it could go to single digits eventually. I'm all out of GE.
Anything
I ate the loss.
RD wants to know, is there any imbalance on GameStop? I had this on my radar early yesterday just because it had that strong 2-day move and kind of took my eye off it. Ended up having a good day. Clear path to 15. Anything in GME, Dennis?
We talked about a short squeeze yesterday on the show, and it did continue there yesterday. And I thought it could go to 15. Didn't quite get there yesterday, but Got up to 1465. It's up a little bit here this morning. Only 1700 to buy, so it's basically nothing.
Okay.
All right. Let it be known that Spencer, who never trades stocks, can take more heat than Dennis. But
actually, no, I've taken now. I bought this thing at 30, so I took 17 points of heat on $13.
Okay.
So
all right.
I basically lost 60% of my investment.
Okay, well, I'm hanging on, buddy. So I'll let you know how it goes.
Will it be a sell signal or buy signal here in GE?
Yeah, on the Ackman bottom, you can say the day bomb. Geez, you know what? Actually, I don't mind the candle. So as a trade here, it actually, if you look the last 2 days, 1368, 13. We did take out the low there yesterday, but we did bounce back. It showed a little bit of life, so I don't mind the candle.
Right.
But long term here, I still think it's a dog.
All right, we're going to take our second break of the day. We're going to grab a new guest. His name is Mike Finch. He's the co-founder and CEO of a company called ICO Alert. For our crypto traders out there, we'll be right back with Mr. Finch. All right, welcome back, everyone. Pre-Market Prep, Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick with you, now joined by Mike Finch, the co-founder and COO of ICO Alert. Mike, how's it going today?
It's going great. Appreciate you guys having me on.
All right, tell us a little bit about ICO Alert. We have our listeners are all traders, and I know we have some crypto people that listen to the show. Wanted to get you on because you actually provide not just like you don't just have a crypto business. It's like it's an actual resource. It's a legitimate service that is from what I've seen, legitimately helpful to people who are in the space. So explain exactly what ICO Alert does.
Sure, absolutely. So the way we think about it, and myself and my brother, the founders of ICO Alert, we've been investing in cryptocurrency since about 2013, 2014 timeframe there. The way we see it is that when we look at new projects, new cryptocurrencies to invest in, we go through a 3-stage process. We have to physically discover the new ICO, which for those of you out there who have been in the space for a while, you might remember the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, that was tough, right? You would hear about these ICOs on Reddit or Bitcoin Talk. Once they, had already raised 10, 20, 30 million. So that's the first step is discovering the project. The second one is doing research, right? We always say you need to do your own research. We provide completely objective information, factual information. We don't put ratings out or anything like that are often paid for misleading to users. Assuming those first 2 stages pan out, then you invest in the project. So think of ICO Alert really dominating that discovery phase of a cryptocurrency investor's life cycle.
Right. It's a lot like, IPO Scoop or a similar type of service if you're into IPOs. How do you find this information?
It's all manual, right? So we've got a team of 14 full-time folks in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We've been doing it since April Fool's Day, 2017. Ironically enough, I guess. Never got into it thinking it would be a tool for anyone else. It was just originally designed for myself and my brother. So we were, vetting these projects and continue to vet them with now 5-person data team, 6 interns we just brought on.
What I guess the question everyone has, or I have, I guess, is what makes a good ICO or what are maybe better questions? What are some red flags to look out for?
Yeah, both great questions. It's hard to, as you said, or kind of got at there. It's hard to determine what is a good ICO because everybody kind of has different goals in investing. Some immediate red flags. If you can't verify the team, right? There are still a lot of bad actors in the space out there who are trying to steal people's money. It's part of a brand new industry that's maturing. So you need to really be able to verify the team. And that's not just seeing a picture on their website. That's going to the LinkedIn. That's looking for parent companies. That's being able to communicate with them outside of their normal social media chats. We do a lot of video content where you can see that person in the office. So that's a big one. One that I use a lot is, as you're going through the white paper, as you're evaluating that white paper, certainly you want length, right? You kind of want, width to the white paper, if you will, but you also want depth. A text section within the white paper that isn't very built out is usually a red flag to me. I want something that is more well thought out, more planned, because it's going to tell me that a lot of the work has already been done, to the actual platform or application or whatever the case may be.
Mike, Dennis Dick here, and I just got an overall question here because I'm not in the crypto space. I'm an equities guy, so I'm not following it closely there. But I see like 1,300 different cryptocurrencies out there. Like when you're evaluating these, are these all dramatically different ideas? Are they all the same idea? I mean, how do you come up with are they 1,300 really different coins, or are they all just kind of the same thing?
It's a great question, and don't worry, we'll get you into crypto real soon. But
good luck.
To answer your question first, a lot of them are very different. A lot of them are, say, different applications or different, platforms that have different uses. But broadly, if you kind of want to look at the state of the industry, a lot of them have to do with the infrastructure for cryptocurrency, right? You can't really plan out the rooms or the bathrooms or the kitchen of a house if you don't have a strong foundation. And that's what cryptocurrency is doing right now. If a major decentralized application was to come out and look to grow to mainstream adoption, there's not a platform that could host that today. This is kind of one of the major arguments within the industry, but you have to have the backbone to that application for it to run, right? So that's the first part. The second one is that what you're seeing too, I don't know if you're looking at CoinMarketCap or whatever the case may be, but you're looking at what is a condensed version of all of the projects that are out there, right? So if it's CoinMarketCap, those projects get listed on CoinMarketCap once they hit an exchange. So there's 1,300 there, but we listed 1,848 ICOs last year. Today, we have almost 800 live ICOs on our site per week. So there are a ton of projects out there who don't hit exchanges and continue to develop their platform or their application as they should, and then look to ramp up the marketing once their MVP is complete or once their mainnet goes live.
Okay, Mike, I just have a broad question here. I mean, you had the euphoria, you had the big run in 2017. We actually did a special at the end of the year. And now, I mean, it just seems to me like it's dead money. I mean, you can look to these alternative coins and everything, but it's lost its sizzle. I mean, we had the internet bubble. I mean, it took several years for that to come back. I mean, it's just not talked about anymore. What is it going to take to, revive the overall interest in the cryptocurrencies?
Well, I think what you're referring to is kind of that mainstream price buzz, right? The cryptocurrency community, the cryptocurrency community is still very alive. Certainly the price has dipped, something 60, 70, 80%, as you guys saw in February and March. And part of that is the industry maturing, right? Part of that is cutting a lot of the fat off of the industry, where now those, within the community and those joining the community, the focus is a little more on the tech, right? The focus is on that blockchain technology, the things that can, change an application or hopefully eventually, communities and the world for the better, right? So I wouldn't say it's dead by any means. I've seen this many times over and over. the market goes through cycles like anything else. I would expect later this year or next year that we see another bull run, just as we did at the end of last year and into January this year. But there are cycles.
All right, Mike, I'm back with you. You said that you first invested in Bitcoin back in 2013. I first heard about Bitcoin in 2013 too, and I literally laughed in my friend's face. So how do you get interested or get involved enough to know enough to want to put some money into an idea like that 5 years ago?
That's a great question. And I think that question still applies today because there's a lot of people out there who have, seen cryptocurrency on CNBC, or they've had their friends talk about it and have probably laughed in their face as well, just as I did my brother's in 2011, 2012 when he first brought it to me. Back then, the first thing I did was I read the Bitcoin white paper, which for those of you who aren't familiar, white paper is kind of like a PPM, right? It's like a prospectus in a way. So that's what I would suggest. I would suggest going and reading the Bitcoin white paper from Satoshi Nakamoto. It's got a lot of great information on kind of the philosophical approach to Bitcoin and why it could benefit a lot of folks, especially those outside of the United States, those third world countries, or those countries where the government has ruined a lot of the economy. But it also goes into the tech too, which will help people understand kind of how this actually works.
One last question before we let you go, Mike, and it's the $1 million question here. Did you invest in crypto kitties?
I did not. When it came across my desk, the network was so congested, partly from some of the folks we have in the ICO Alert office, that it wasn't something that I could have even invested in if I wanted to. But stuff like that is really cool. It kind of makes its way through the cryptocurrency community, and I know CryptoKitties is still alive and kicking today. So yeah, I missed out on that one, but most that I've heard have kind of have not done so well in the CryptoKitties space.
I'll throw in one more from our chat here. This is just a question someone's asking, going back to 2013. It's still a great early on, but obviously still a great year for Bitcoin that year. As someone who was involved back then, did it have like a buzz in 2013? Or what was the buzz like?
Sure. So it was a much smaller community, right? The cryptocurrency community was pretty much segmented to Reddit, Bitcoin Talk, a handful of other social media channels. You didn't really see many articles about it in mainstream media. You certainly didn't see CNBC talking about it on TV or talking about Ripple or anything like this, right? I was originally introduced to it from my brother in, I want to say 2011 or 2012. And then I picked it back up when it went on that huge run, up to $1,300. That's when I really kind of saw it as something that not only was a good idea from a philosophical standpoint, but had such a backing and such a community that it could reach a price like that. So at the time when it jumped up that high, just as we saw a huge bull run this past winter, people were freaking out, right? Everybody was very excited. And then, it crashed much, much lower from that 1,300 point. And that was not nearly as fun for a lot of people. I hope, and I think most of investors have learned that cryptocurrency is very volatile. But at the time when that happened, there was kind of an equal level of excitement and an equal level of despair. So, the industry was a lot newer. It was a lot fresher. I think those in the space, myself included, were still understanding what this was and how it worked. So pros and cons to that time. But it continues to mature today.
Dennis, one more question here. Yeah. So just in relation to that, and obviously you've been involved a long time, so you've seen these huge falls and pain for Bitcoin holders before, and obviously there's a lot of people who are under current pain as well, people who are maybe buying it at 15, 17, 20,000, and now it's down here at 7. I've seen, on my Twitter feed, a lot of people say, well, Bitcoin's had the falls before and it'll come back. One big difference, though, that I've argued here on this is that I don't believe the masses were involved before, when you had those 80-90% falls, like back in 2013. There just wasn't, everybody involved in that. It wasn't, like everywhere on every headline in front of every major newspaper as it was with the recent, climb there. So how do you get, back, to get the masses back involved in something that they probably got burned pretty hard in, back in February and March?
It's a great question. My answer is kind of twofold, right? So the first part is that as more and more people get interested in cryptocurrency, the rises and the falls can potentially get bigger because there's more people in it, more people buying as it goes up. Generally, people tend to buy at the top and sell at the bottom. It's not what you want to do as an investor, as you guys know, but it tends to happen. So, it's definitely a solid point in that, there were more masses involved this time, but that's what the cycle has been from the very start, right? It's more people, whether you'd consider them mainstream folks who don't really understand the technology, or you would consider them crypto folks. So that's the first part. The second part too is that I think, and many probably don't want to hear this, but I think it's necessary, right, for a growing industry. There has to be a little bit of pain there. I would, urge people to do their own research. Don't look just at Bitcoin. Look at some of the other cryptocurrencies as well. Try to gain a context as to where the market is, versus just kind of buying blindly and hoping that it will continue to go up. Because as we've seen, it doesn't go up forever, and it's going to come back, and it's going to go back up, and it's volatile. So part of it is, kind of cutting the fat off, right, if you will, and hopefully people kind of learn their lessons and go and do their own research and have a better context.
All right, Mike Finch has been out with us. He's the co-founder and COO of ICO Alert. You're getting some love in our chats. Great service. If you're into the space, seriously, I'm all about resources like this that are useful and are updated and are evergreen and have databases allow you to do research. This is one of those. So, even though I don't actively trade cryptos, if I did, I would sure as hell use this site. Mike, thanks so much for the time, and have a good one.
Thanks a lot, guys. You as well.
All right, 8:52 now. Got about 8 minutes left in today's show. Guys, did you want to go to the AMBA report? Because we didn't get there yet. Okay.
Ask about it. Go ahead, give the report, and then we'll break it down.
Ambarella reported yesterday after the bell. Let me get the chart up here. Q1 EPS 13 cents versus a 9-cent estimate. Sales of 56.9 versus 56.1 million. So a $3 million beat on the sales number. Almost $4 million. Q2 sales guidance, $60 to $64 million is the range that they gave. $68 million was the estimate.
It's in the gutter here. It's down 11%. It is coming into a major support level at the double bottom back in April, 44.13 and 44.21. That's where we're at right now. We're trying to hold that $44 level. That's critical for it to hold, because if that does not hold, then it's kind of a slippery slope almost down to 40. So I would say 44, it looks like it's trying to find some support there. Maybe that's your first bounce level. Below that, it gets a little bit dicey.
Yeah, we had some of the boys in the chat playing it yesterday and scalped out of it pretty good. They were buyers in the mid 44 handles and got out on that only pop above 45. I think Spinner, I think you picked it up on a longer term trade at 44.50. I'm not sure if you're waiting to buy more on that or not. Dennis points out all you need to know for today's session, 44.13, 44.21. That was a pair of lows that you had in April. After that, you do have to think about the psychological $40 level, but important to hold 44. The bad news is you're trading 44.10, so you're getting a little, you're not distancing yourself from that support. Yeah, but this one, maybe you get some weak sellers off the close, off the open, flush it down to 43.20. And then come back up through the open. But looks like we have some more work to do on the downside here in AMBA. And then we were talking about the other dogs barking. GoPro, GoPro is down just a few cents here. But when those stocks when they were in the heyday, used to move a lot better.
But we were looking at Fitbit here, like 2-day move 550 to 6.25. I mean, this is I don't know if there's a headline here. Or this is just moving, like the rising tide, or how's that saying go? The
rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah, and that's maybe what the case are seeing. I guess you can consider it still a tech stock, and it seems like
we do have a headline. We do have a headline though.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yeah, there is a headline. The headline is. They're promoting someone to a new CFO, but more importantly, they've increased their confidence in its outlook that smartwatch revenue will be more than 50% of sales in the second half of the year. They also reaffirmed their quarterly and fiscal year guidance.
I just look at this chart and I just think, yeah, sure, it's looking nice right now, but I think it's just, going off of everything else. People are like now combing the ditches looking for any tech stock that hasn't run yet, and they're buying it. And, there's a play in there. There's a play in that, and finding that, maybe GoPro is going to be the next one. I mean, it hasn't really run yet. Maybe it's set up to do the same thing. I mean, it's just quiet there, gets above 6. Maybe it has a little, relief rally here. Long term, I think these are both dogs. I think long term, you're buying Fitbit at 650. I think when you look at it a year from now, I think you lose money. I think short term, though, I can't argue with you if I got this for a trade, because the momentum is, all these things are hot right now. Every single thing that is tech is hot. I mean, the chat was talking about 3D systems taking off, again, and it's been a dog forever, but it's going. SSYS is another one, 3D printing stock, showing a little bit of life. I don't mind that chart there either. Anything tech right now, they're buying it. So eventually that will burst. Like basically this everything buy every tech stock trade is not going to work long run. But right now in the short run, it's working. And you know what? I'm doing the same thing. As I'm day trading, I'm looking, and if it's tech, I'm scared of hell of shorting it. And if its chart looks like it hasn't gone yet, I'm inclined to buy it.
Let's do Signet Jewelers, because Chris F., I think he's new to the Benzinga chat here. He mentioned it yesterday, and it's just a dog getting up and down. They had a good report. This was on. You want to give us a quick report on that one, Spencer?
The Q1 adjusted EPS 10 cents versus a 5-cent loss estimate. Sales 1.5 versus 1.4 billion dollars. They reiterated their fiscal year adjusted EPS guidance that it's coming in line, and the sales guidance also in line with the estimated Q1 comps were essentially flat. That's a quote. They're essentially flat on a year-over-year basis.
It's tech and retail that is the hottest thing right now. And I actually had this after hours last night, and it popped up a bit after hours, and I sold it. But I was not scared to go into the report. And I actually said, one of my buddies over there, Bright, I was just like, I bet you this thing just goes up 10% tomorrow. And not even knowing what the numbers are going to be or anything, just because everything, if they can find a reason to buy retail, they're finding it right now. That's what you're seeing here too. Am I coming in here fading it? Hell no. These retail stocks, I mean, look at Macy's, and nothing to do with Signet Jewelers, but did you see the move in the 2-day move at Macy's? 35 to 40. Now it gets downgraded here today. So it's going back a bit. Did you see Macy's?
40.05.
$40 yesterday. $40.28 Macy's said yesterday.
Wow, Macy's and Twitter both crossed $40 in this.
Just insane. I mean, everybody, that hated these things back in the teens, now they got it by hand over fist. This feels like it's starting to get on some of these retailers like upside capitulation. They always talk about capitulation, and that's on the downside when everybody throws in the towel and they have to get the hell out. This feels like everybody has to get the hell in. And they're just buying it. It goes up 3 points yesterday. I don't even know if there was a headline. But, I mean, if you're buying all these retailers now, you are so late to the party. I mean, Kohl's is up. Kohl's, this is, a big retail stock, that, moves like $1, 50 cents, $1 a day typically. In the last 3 trading sessions, Kohl's has run $9. This is like everybody is chasing the hell out of these things now. And you know what? You're way late to the party here. I think when the dust settles and I look at Kohl's a year from now, it's lower. Was there value at 30 and 40? Absolutely. Is there value here at 74? There's not much value as there was. I'll tell you that. And you're still buying a business that, yeah, okay, it's not maybe retail apocalypse like Phil Davis was saying, but there's still some problems here with some of these retailers. And they're coming here and buying them hand over fist. It seems kind of crazy. The only one I did buy recently was L Brands because I felt like I hadn't gone yet. So, now it's up 70, 80 cents here today too. And this is just a trade. I'm not in this as a long-term investment. I'm in it for a swing trade because I feel like they're looking through retailers now. What hasn't gone, that's what they're trying to buy. So I bought Al Brands there 3 days ago back at like $35 because I feel like it hasn't gone yet. And now it's at $37.90. I actually got paid a dividend too in the meantime. I think it's got room to 40, maybe even 40 here in the next couple of days because these things are nuts. But eventually the dust settles on a lot of these things. I don't know about Al Brands because it hasn't run as much, but the Macy's and the Kohl's, these things running 10, 15% in a matter of a day. It's too much. So I think, I just think if you're buying them for trades, it's one thing, but don't get caught in these things because when they turn, they're going to turn hard.
Okay, we didn't get to any ratings today, but
there's a couple that we can run through real fast.
Yeah, do it quick.
Well, here, actually, let me get my calendar up here because it's been a while. It's been about an hour. Okay, we get a First Solar. I think we mentioned that at the top. Maybe not catching a downgrade this morning from JMP Securities. We just mentioned Kohl's and Macy's getting downgraded at Atlantic Equities. Yelp downgrade at KeyBank. What else do we have? Valiant catching an upgrade this morning from Barclays to overweight. International Paper upgrade at RBC to outperform. Those are the biggest ones on my screen. Anything you saw, Dennis, that you wanted to add?
First Solar, just talking about that one there. So it got downgraded yesterday, gets downgraded here again today. I'm saying come to Papa. I want this thing at $50. I don't think it's got a lot of momentum going. It's from 70 to 57 here in 3 sessions. Long ways to go to 50. I think there's all kinds of buyers down to 50, and I would be one of them as well. But gets downgraded JMP Securities to underweight. They put a $46 price target on the thing. I'd love it to get down to $46. I would buy it down there, but I still want to own First Solar. It's one that I regret not buying before, and I think if it gets near that 50, I'm going to put it in my investment portfolio.
All right, 9:01, 9:02 now. So we're going to wrap it up for the day. As far as tomorrow's show, we are going to be joined by another new guest. Michael Sokol will join the show. He is the Senior Managing Director at the NASDAQ Market Intelligence Desk. He will join the show at 8:15, and then at 8:35, we're going to be joined by Christian Fromhertz as well. He's a great Twitter follow. And he'll join the show again at 8:35. Great guest. He's been out before with us. So that's it. That's what's on the docket for tomorrow's show. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch our podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Just search for Benzinga or PreMarket Prep on any of those sites if you want to go in our chats throughout the day.
We got to wish a happy birthday, too, there. You see in the chat? Texas Linda. Happy birthday.
Oh, my gosh. How did I miss that? Happy birthday, Texas Linda. Trying to think of a birthday trading pun. Can't do it right now. Oh, well. Okay. Happy birthday, Texas Linda.
Happy birthday. Happy trading.
Hope you happy trading as well. But again, join our chats, premarket.benzinga.com, youtube.com/BenzingaTV. Hope you all have had a nice morning and have a good rest of your day. And we'll see you folks on Thursday.